since day one, since, you know, my dad put the ball in my hand. I just loved it. And it continues to be a love for the game every single day.
A lot of love for the game, a lot of respect for the game.
When I was 6 years old, I remember sitting on my couch with my dad, and we would always watch NFL games. And I remember in that moment wanting to play in the NFL so badly.
I really love the game, and that's really why I want to just take it as far as I can.
I want to play football for as long as I can. I love football, and I want to get that opportunity.
I just love that teamwork kind of atmosphere that football brings, and specifically offensive line.
I just love playing the game, and I think that every day I wake up and I think about football.
Growing up, it was like, you know, football, and I really never seen myself doing anything different.
And I want to live life to the fullest, and I think the fullest version of my life is playing in the NFL.
I'd say this is one of the most important interviews of my life because basically this has always been my dream, my goal was to get to the NFL.
Few of us get to interview for our dream jobs straight from college, much less with the top firms in our professions. Imagine the pressure you'd feel if you knew your performance then, in your early 20s, might set the direction for the rest of your life.
It's very important. It's almost important to the point where if I don't, I feel like I failed in life. Just in the sense of I don't, you know, a lot of people say he shouldn't put that type of pressure on himself, but I am.
These kids are very hungry. I think they're ambitious, and they don't want to take no for an answer.
Jose Jefferson and Craig Redd run the College Gridiron Showcase at McNair Stadium on the campus of All Saints Episcopal School in Fort Worth, Texas. 300 or so draft-eligible football players attend annually. Each young man seeks to impress talent evaluators who work for teams from the National Football League, Canadian Football League, Indoor Football League, and even Japan's X-League. The players here won't end up as high-round NFL draft selections, but some of them will earn a shot to make rosters as lower-round picks or free agents. The scouts have seen the film from their NCAA or NAIA or Canadian university careers. During this event, these job applicants will get a chance to either build on or overcome what they did as student athletes. The players who normally take the field at a prep school like All Saints may have multiple ways to get into college. Many of the players CGS invites to their event had fewer options, mainly their performances on football fields. Those often came through life routes that didn't follow a playbook.
Self-harming was a thing that I went through around middle school.
Matt Burrell went to Ohio State as a top-tier offensive line recruit. His struggles there led him to finish his college career at an FCS school, Sam Houston State.
It left scars on me, and it left scars on me physically, it left scars on me mentally, it's left scars on me, you know, throughout my life.
Burrell would begin CGS as part of their small school showcase. It features players from the lower levels of college football who have gone relatively unnoticed. Scouts vote on which 10 of them will earn the right to remain at the event when the higher-rated prospects arrive on Saturday. A big-armed passer from a local NAIA school hopes he'll be one of them. Like Burrell and a number of others, Donovan Isom began his college football career at a larger institution before life got in the way.
I started at the University of Utah, coming out of high school. Went to transfer to Southeastern, you know, had some problems back home, and you know, my mom got really sick, house burned down, and transferred back home, you know, to help out with some things, and got my degree from there, and now at Texas Western, just trying to show these guys what a guy like me can do on the field as a quarterback.
The big numbers Tracy James put up just west of Fort Worth at Abilene Christian got him invited to the CGS main event, something nobody would have foreseen when he arrived in Dallas a decade earlier.
I moved down here, I was like 10 or 11, just because my mom got a job out here, and on our way down here, they canceled out on her. So we were here for like 6-7 months, homeless, living at a motel.
James became the first in his family to graduate college. For many at the College Gridiron Showcase, a chance to play pro ball would mean achieving a goal barely imaginable at previous points in their lives.
I got into a severe car accident where I broke my neck.
My parents, they were going through a divorce, And my little brother, he was involved also. I had to go home and make sure everything was right, especially for my little brother.
I had to go to the hospital, and I woke up the next day. I was 30 minutes from dying. I'm glad I made it, but it came with the small cost of losing your football season. I woke up in the hospital bed with tubes in my nose, everywhere you could possibly think of, and they said, good news and bad news. Good news, you're gonna make it, you're alive. Bad news, you're not gonna play this year. And I just remember crying in the hospital bed next to my mom.
I had a single mom growing up, 5 brothers and sisters, stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment. You know, it was a struggling childhood, and football opened up many doors, you know, that wouldn't have opened up for me if I didn't play this sport.
I'm training for my 6th Olympics. More than ever before, I have to work hard to stay in shape. I run, I lift, I do yoga. That means sore knees, sore back, sore everything. KT Tape helps me push past the pain.
KT Tape is used by athletes around the world to relieve the pain of aching muscles and joints so they can perform at their best. Super easy to apply. Use it for many common injuries. KT Tape. Train longer, finish stronger.
KT Tape works for me, it'll work for you.
Make your suit a reflection of you. With licenses for all your favorite teams and Greek programs, you can customize your suit to show off exactly who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. Reveal your passion. Choose Reveal Suits.
I'm the youngest of 4 boys. All my brothers have spent half their life in prison. I'm 24, my mom spent 23 years in prison, so that explains that. My father's deceased. So, you know, I really had to grow up on my own.
Craig Evans went to 4 colleges in as many states, winding up as a dominating NAIA-level performer. Years earlier, Noel Scarlett had excelled for the same university Evans attended.
I got kicked out of one college because of character issues. My ability had never been questioned. I was one of the top athletes in Florida. Had a lot of schools recruiting me, a lot of scholarship offers, but I got into some really serious trouble that caused me to be locked up for several years. When I got out, there was only one school that allowed me to come and play, Langston University in Oklahoma.
Scarlett overcame his history and played pro ball, including a single NFL game with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, as defensive line coach at the College Gridiron Showcase, he hopes to pass on his knowledge to players like Evans and give them a chance to do at least as much as he did in the game. And he makes certain they hear it.
Finally, I want to make it shake. Still Johnson. That's what I'm talking about. Right hand. We'll take it. Yeah! Yeah! Take that shit that way. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Let's go. You ain't short. Keep on push. I told you that. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah!
I'm high energy. I'm running all over the place. I'm yelling and screaming because I want them to understand that that's the energies needed to be productive.
Scarlett's counterpart on the other side of the ball also played pro football.
I was the guy that went to the University of Texas, played over 4 years in the NFL, and I was undrafted as well. So I was the guy that always had to scratch and claw my way to put myself in a better situation. Nothing never came easy, and I always caught myself doing stuff the hard way, although I had success with it. So when I really found out how to do it the easy way, I found that was a gift I could give to younger guys. Like, hey, you've been doing things the hard way. Let me teach you the easier way.
For the offensive lineman Donald Hawkins coaches to reach their goals, they must dominate in matchups against Scarlett's men.
We need a bigger center. Touchdown! Touchdown!
Look at his back foot. It moved before he did.
Oh, Lord, now they got a whole stand line put together. These dudes trip.
This is a great friend of mine, right? He's a D lineman, I'm an O lineman. If I was playing against him, I'd kick his ass. Just like I kicked his ass today.
Absolutely not true. That's horrible. That's horrible.
They love to talk, you know, and D-line coaches are no different because most of the times they used to be defensive linemen.
I'm good. We winning. I'm good.
It's a lot of emotion, you know, everybody competing, coaches and all, you know, don't nobody want to lose, so you can imagine that type of environment when your O-line coach don't want to lose, D-line coach don't want to lose, they talking smack, and it's very intense, man, it's really intense.
Their competitive edge is showing, and it's just fun to be out there with them. Their energy is amazing.
Just having them go at each other and watching them fight over the reps and who wins and who loses, it brings a lot of energy and fun.
Beyond their natural competitiveness, the coaches have reasons for creating the commotion they do.
Imagine playing in a stadium with 100,000 fans and playing in a stadium with just 2 fans. The energy level is kind of different, right? It's 8:30 in the morning. These guys fresh out of bed. It really hasn't hit them yet. So it's our job to create the juices flowing, you know?
I love that fire. That's what you need to make everybody better. Like if they were both quiet, then the drill would probably suck. But when they start talking, it makes me want to talk. It fires me up, makes me want to compete better or play better.
I remember one play I made a TFL and Scarlett just come screaming, "Oh!"
Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus! Oh, Jesus!
For us, it's trash talk to the fullest.
Mama, there go that man!
I'm trying to get them to play fast and fun, and it's a mindset. It becomes a mindset that, yeah, I'm having fun, but I'm gonna dominate the guy across from me. And the attitude I try to push is that, yeah, we'll shake hands afterwards, but I'm gonna dominate you during these, the in between whistles. And I don't want you to be successful at all. At all.
Come on with it! Come on with it!
They feed off the energy. If you're like this, all right, hey, let's go do drills. No, I'm running through a brick wall, man. Let's do this. There's an opportunity. I said, who wants to get a job? Who wants that opportunity?
Young men participating in the showcase do have a legitimate chance to impress the personnel departments at their dream companies.
All the scouts are here. They love the format. Our guys get a lot of reps when they come here. So I think you have a good opportunity here.
The CGS staff helps ensure those opportunities exist by inviting only players they feel have a realistic chance to perform at the next level. They've all excelled at one college or another, and sometimes more than one. But to earn a job in professional football, they must displace a current player or one higher on a draft board.
You have to understand that there are veteran players on that team who have been making money for their families. And if they sign you or draft you with the intention of replacing him immediately or in the foreseeable future, you're taking money out of that man's house.
Most athletes would like to earn their meal money playing professionally. Few will actually get a job doing so.
Unfortunately, you may pick this career, but this career is not going to always pick you. You can do your best, and you have somebody telling you that you're good enough isn't good enough.
People don't play the collision sport that is American football for a lifetime. That means for the CGS attendees who don't get a pro contract, the showcase could represent the last time they get to play 11 on 11. Ever.
I really had to think about that because I heard it once this weekend, and I had to really think about that, like, man, this might be the last time I put a football helmet on or some shoulder pads or I step onto a field. So I have to wake up on these days and go out and practice like it's literally my last and just give everything I ever given.
Shahan Williams had already had to give up football once due to family issues and injury.
I remember the exact play. I was coming down the line of scrimmage and following the play, but the O-lineman still was on me. I just haven't quite got rid of him yet, but as soon as I shed to get rid of him, my leg was stuck in the turf. So I sprained my MCL and fractured my knee and fractured my talus bone and my ankle.
Williams recovered to play at Notre Dame, not the one with the Golden Dome. He went to Notre Dame College in South Euclid, Ohio. As a Division II All-American, he merited an invite to one of the two main groups at CGS, known as the Desperados. But the NFL likes its defensive tackles larger than Williams' 6 foot, 259 pounds. To earn a pro contract, he'll have to use CGS to show he's more than his pedigree would indicate.
If I come here and showcase my talents and against other guys from Power Fives and D1, and then for myself, that just helps my stock just rise. And at the end of the day, no one can say he only did that because he was in D2.
Engine repair comes with a lifetime warranty.
Lifetime warranty, huh? That's a long...
Service King Collision Repair.
If becoming a professional athlete or executive is your dream, your financial goals should be long-term. Growing up in football and working in the NFL front offices, I saw a lot of people who never realized the importance of having a financial plan. As managing principal at 44 Management, we help people turn their success into significance. Learn about our track record of trust, respect, accountability, credibility, and knowledge at our website, 44mgmt.com.
Long time. Woo!
Service King Collision Repair.
The College Gridiron Showcase is brought to you by Reveal Suits.
The College Gridiron Showcase begins on a Friday with the group they call the Marshals. They're the small school showcase with no Division I players. They have the longest road to travel to play pro ball, but they all have potential or they wouldn't be there.
Scouts are going to look at my size for sure. God had blessed me with tremendous size, long arms, and for my size, I'm actually able to move pretty well.
At the opening session, Lindenwood tackle Jalen Fly Sadler sits in the front of the room. He's conspicuous not only because of his proportions, but because of the notebook he carries.
Peyton Manning once said, no matter what meeting room you in, always have a note. Always have a pen and paper, because you never know what you're going to hear. You never know what you're going to hear, and that shows the scouts, and that shows everybody in this room. I'm attentive. I came here for a purpose. I came here for a reason.
Every detail can matter when it comes to how a player gets evaluated.
These scouts are watching them every day they're here. Their body language, what they're doing on the field, what they're doing off the field, they're interviewing them. They're like, what's your favorite color or something like that. I'm kidding about that.
The serious business at the football field starts on a Saturday morning. Robert Taylor, generally known as Coach T Baby, looks to get the players warmed up and pumped up. Position group work allows scouts to evaluate certain skill sets and physical attributes, and mindsets.
There's no score being kept out there, but you know in their mind, they're checking wins and losses, you know, as far as their drills, their one-on-ones.
The one-on-one drills run by Hawkins and Scarlett attract a lot of attention from the scouts. Defensive ends pass rush against offensive tackles. Nose guards and defensive tackles take on guards and centers. They'll see speed and strength displayed. Jalen Fly Sadler shows his physicality with some solid reps. The drill also demands the ability to recover from a bad performance.
Out of high school, I attended Northwestern State, and I got there and lost focus, and grades slipped. So I sat out for a year and started working. And I just realized that wasn't for me. And football called me right back. I went to Texas College.
Tyron Stevenson went from the FCS to the working world to the NAIA. On Saturday, he'll have to find a way to bounce back again after several struggles with the snap count. Though the offense and defense give each other a hard time, camaraderie develops quickly within the camp.
I'm Matt Burrell. We're here at the CGS 2020. Zach, how do you think you did today?
A little rusty starting out. I haven't played football since the 23rd of November, but it was fun to get back out there and thought I gave it my best.
Awesome.
Matt Burrell and Zach Larson had not met before CGS. The two offensive linemen might end up competing for the same professional opportunity, but their position group still bonds. Perhaps it's just the nature of the game.
I feel like offensive linemen are the same all over the place. We're all friendly and we love getting to know each other, and you give us food and we'll talk about food and we'll be friends for life.
It's been fun, getting with the guys and just hearing their stories, just all kicking back and just talking about how college was. You get a whole new roommate that you've never met. You sitting up there in the room just talking college football. So I feel like it's a cool thing.
The Marshals think playing in the NFL would be a cool thing too, and their best chance to continue in that pursuit comes, appropriately enough, on a Sunday.
Oh, it's money day, baby.
After a warm-up and a few drills, they'll execute a controlled scrimmage, 11 men on 11. The day before, the quarterback from the hometown school had shown scouts his ability to throw the deep ball. On Sunday, however, Donovan Isom finds his receivers a bit less consistently. He still does some good things, but the scouts can only select 10 players to make the cut and stay at CGS. Along the O and D lines, competitiveness reigns as usual.
Hey, listen, Coach T. Coach T, I'm going to give him some love. One play out of 40. No, we blew. One play out of 40.
One side glories in sacks, the other in touchdowns. A tense cool-down follows the scrimmage. Former NFLers Tony Banks out of Michigan State and Ricky Williams of Texas Tech encourage the players. And then Jose Jefferson reveals who will stay.
Number 25, running back.
Isom and Stevenson will not. But scouts do want to see how Jalen Fly Sadler's size will play against players from the more prominent schools.
Number 74, offensive line.
Zach Larson makes the cut. His new buddy does not. Most of the Marshalls do not. Their road to pro football just got even harder.
Most of everybody that was here was a starter. They started. They played on their team, they were a starter. Now you're going to get into a situation as we had our small college group. That's the first time people were ever probably cut.
Two new groups of hopefuls joined the surviving Marshalls Sunday night. The Desperados and the Wranglers, as CGS has named them, draw their membership from Football Bowl subdivision schools and the highest-rated players from lower classifications. Their situations have much in common with those of their non-athletic peers.
We're all leaving college. We're all seniors that either graduated or going to graduate pretty soon, and this is the next phase in life, and all of us want to be playing in the NFL. Obviously, the numbers aren't in favor of every single one of us playing in the NFL, but that's what we want to do.
It's basically one long interview for the next 3 or 4 months. And I mean, it's just as important as someone in business trying to get a finance job.
The stage of life these guys are in right now is pretty big transition. I mean, I think a lot of them are here at CGS with a lot of hope, filled with dreams, right? And a lot of what if. So I think there's a lot of excitement. I think there's a lot of probably a little bit of terror, like what's gonna happen. This moment in time could change my life forever.
Can almost hear the music, the smell of barbecue smokers, the freedom of riverfront trails. The lions and giraffes will be ready to greet you. Champions will be crowned. The sights of longhorns on historic bricks. The modern West is closer than you think. Y'all get ready. Visit Fort Worth.
Thank you! Let's break that record.
The College Gridiron Showcase is brought to you by 44 Management.
The changes CGS players experience going into pro ball would include some fresh terminology and a few new rules, like narrower hash marks on the playing surface and a legal catch requiring 2 feet in bounds. The quarterbacks might get under center a bit more, but they'll mostly play the same game they have their whole lives.
The game hasn't changed. It's football, you know. Football is football.
The biggest differences come when they leave their stadiums.
It's a life that go on off this field, you know what I mean? When you take them pads off and take that helmet off, you gotta jump into the same lane as everybody else. In football, you kinda can blend in, you know what I mean? Hide behind the football walls. But when you get out there in life, it's on you. So it's like, man, you gotta kinda get from up out of this bubble and kinda, you know, diving into the real life stuff.
Over the course of a few days, CGS tries to give its attendees, and in some cases their parents, tools to help them make good life decisions.
They're trying to cultivate some things and give them some information, you know, that they didn't have when they get here, that's outside of football.
Going from college to real life is a huge transition. It could really go bad for a lot of people.
Speakers like wealth manager and former NFL personnel man Rod Newhouse drive home the importance of money management, including the nuances of why professional players with seemingly huge salaries can end up struggling to maintain their lifestyles.
The business side of it, it put a new perspective for me. The NFL is not forever, that money is not forever, so you got to be smart with it.
I didn't know the average career is 3 years in the NFL, which is extremely short and not something you can live off of for the rest of your life.
They talked about that a lot, and I paid really close attention to like the keys, like just saving and not spending on stupid stuff. So I think that's what I'm gonna take either way I go NFL or not.
So make sure you got the right structure, the right people around you to get you where you want to go.
At some point, you're going to have to put the game down, and these are the tools to be successful when you do that and be able to transition into life.
It's scary thinking about like, okay, what do I have in 3 months? What do I have in 4 months? What will that be? But they're here slowing it down and just taking it step by step. They're teaching us financial stuff. They're teaching us like things involving relationships with women, you know, things like that, as more of a man just for in case this doesn't happen.
Any of these players would indeed find it scary if his football career doesn't pan out. They've had the game at or near the center of their lives for years. But scary doesn't begin to describe what football put CGS's keynote speaker through.
I'm a rape survivor. I was gang raped by 4 college athletes. Obviously, you know, something went wrong in their lives, that they felt that they were entitled to my body and to commit that act of violence.
The 1998 assault Brenda Tracy described in grueling detail at the College Gridiron Showcase involved members of the Oregon State football team. It went unpunished, due in part to their sports position in the community. She hopes to work with football groups to use the game's own attributes to prevent future sexual assaults.
Football in general just has this platform where football could really change the conversation. And instead of us always talking about football as the problem, football players as the problem, what if they were the solution? What if we took all that energy and turned it for good, positive cultural change?
Like she said, football is pretty much America's sport right now, and everything about it, you know, guys, we have a role that we play on and off the field.
Football players are not known. I mean, basketball, all sport, men are known to be, being honest jerks. They use their authority, their power in the wrong way. There's too many women that went through so many bad things, and me and, hopefully many others will be the person to stop that stereotype.
We talk a lot about how everyone deserves safety and respect. We all just deserve to live our lives free from harm and violence. And, are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution?
There's a lot of good guys out there, there's obviously a lot of bad guys, but there's a lot of good guys, and most of the time we're just silent, we won't say anything.
It's been a lot of situations where I be around my homeboys and they, man, this home, I don't wanna, man, this female, this chick, and it's like, I can't step up, like, why she gotta be that? Like, I done heard a lot of stuff and I ain't never say nothing. Never even thought to say nothing. So now I'm just thinking like, man, just to put it on their head to let them know that somebody else, like, really thinking, and it's a male at that. I'm a male and I'm speaking up for the females. It'll just be big. I feel like it'll just be a real big movement. It can be something as little as just tweeting, hashtag set the expectation.
Tracy named her nonprofit Set the Expectation, with an eye to making respectful treatment of women the norm among athletes, and indeed society beyond the playing fields. How a prospect presents himself off the field matters to organizations. Dior Johnson showed up to CGS in a collared shirt and slacks, showing that presentation mattered to him.
The reason why I came presented like this is because it's like a job interview. So at a job interview, you kind of want to make sure you present yourself the right way in front of the people that you want to get seen by, which is the scouts.
Johnson ended his college career at Murray State. He began it in the Big Ten, where many saw him as symptomatic of the problems Brenda Tracy's organization addresses.
It started in September with pretty much was sexual misconduct
at Minnesota or whatnot. And it started in September, and we went through a whole police investigation. And then once we went through a police investigation, me and a few others, we missed 4 games for it. And once that had got situated, then we came back. We came back because they went through an investigation. They proved that we were innocent and whatnot. And then we were good all the way until the end of the season before we went to our bowl game or whatnot. And then the Title IX played a factor. And then once we went to Title IX, then we eventually got kicked out of school.
Johnson saw flaws in the state university's Title IX investigation that resulted in his expulsion. That experience factored into what he took from some of the presentations at CGS.
Brenda Tracy, I respect her. Most of her stances I stood with, but there definitely was some disagreements and some of the stuff she was saying just from going through some of the situations that I went through.
For Tracy, a key lesson that Johnson and others should take out of her presentation might have kept the then 19-year-old Johnson out of the questionable situation in the first place.
I think just the idea of compassion, of empathy, of understanding that your exact experience is not the experience of the person next to you, trying to put yourself in another person's shoes, humanizing other human beings.
Respect women, that's always a good thing to do, and you just have to, as a person, you just have to watch the situations you put yourself in so you don't end up in situations as I was in when I was in Minnesota.
Whether Johnson's past would hurt him in the eyes of professional teams remained to be seen. He would attempt to control the situation as best he could with how he carried himself off the field and how he performed on it.
I'm training for my 6th Olympics. More than ever before, I have to work hard to stay in shape. I run, I lift, I do yoga. That means sore knees, sore back, sore everything. KT Tape helps me push past the pain.
KT Tape is used by athletes around the world to relieve the pain of aching muscles and joints so they can perform at their best. Super easy to apply. Use it for many common injuries. KT Tape. Train longer, finish stronger.
KT Tape works for me, it'll work for you.
We call the courts Nancy Lieberman Charities builds dream courts. Kids might realize their basketball dreams playing in neighborhoods like this, as I did growing up. This is the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. They can dream about playing here one day too. And bonding with the police officer on one of our kids and cops dream courts, that might help both to realize their dreams in life. Learn how you can help neighborhood kids at nancyliebermancharities.org.
KT Tape provides pain relief and support so you can train longer and finish stronger.
Every player has certain things he wants to show the scouts. Napoleon Maxwell recovered from 2 ACL tears to average more than 5 yards a carry his last 3 years at Florida International. But he knows he'll need to show a broader skill set to deserve a pro roster spot.
My main focus was just come up here and show them that I can be a back that can get in there and block and I can catch, being a running back and they watching my film, they know I can run the ball.
The qualities Steven Nielsen hopes to show off to observers sounds similar to most others at CGS.
To see an aggressive dude who can play fast, and I'm very athletic, if I should say so myself, so I can move fast, and I can get on people and stay with them.
Nielsen took a unique route to developing into a quality offensive lineman. He comes from Denmark.
I started playing when I was 14, and I just grew loving the sports, and I started playing the national team back home. And then I was 18, I decided that I want to play college football. So I decided that I want to go to US for high school. So my junior and senior year of high school, I went to a small school in Indiana called La Lumiere. And I played football there for 2 years, and then I was recruited by a bunch of Mid-American conference schools, and I decided to go to Eastern.
Should the Eastern Michigan product achieve his dream, it would have a wider impact than that of most players.
I mean, it's everything. Being one of the few Danish people who have done it, it would be amazing. I get to not only make my family proud, but the whole country proud.
Nielsen's school occupies a place at the lower end of the Football Bowl subdivision rankings. CGS helps scouts and players through its ability to match players from the smaller schools against opponents from larger ones.
Sometimes when you put in your reports that you have a small college player that has exemplified themselves as a prospect, a potential prospect, but sometimes in my report I'd say the one thing that limits to me their possible success is the level of competition.
A Power 5 player has to dodge complacency, and hope his big game experience benefits him.
I like all competition. You know, anybody you line up in front of me, I just want to go and dominate them.
Good in Nebraska. SEC players, you go against the NFL talent every week.
Being at the Power 5 level is a great advantage for me, and I think not being at a Power 5 level can be a great advantage for a lot of these other guys in that regard of, hey, you know, I might be a small school guy, but I can hang with you guys. They can turn that into an advantage also. I think it's very cool to mix Power 5 guys here and also small school guys.
I didn't have a scholarship going into the University of Akron for 2 seasons. Walked on, so a scout team guy, special teams guy. Climbed that ladder of being a position player into a full-time starter my junior year, and then I was first team All-MAC my senior year. It's kind of a chip on my shoulder, and it's, you know, the world against me type of mentality, but if it works out, great, and if it doesn't, I know I've given everything I have.
On Monday, the Desperados and Wranglers get their first chances to show scouts they're willing to give their all in individual and group drills.
They've got the meat of their resume done from what they've done in college and the games that they played this fall and the last fall. All these games in our eyes, these practices, that they can help elevate it and maybe help us see a guy that, hey, he stepped out here a little bit and showed us something. Now we go back and look at the game tape, which is the true resume of the guy, and see if maybe we missed something.
A strong performance in Fort Worth matters even more for the few players without relevant game film.
We had a kid this year who was a tight end, and he wanted to play defensive end because he knew that's where he was going to make it. We didn't say no.
I talked to my agent, and he's like, honestly, man, like I've talked to some scouts, they think that you would look good at DN. I don't have the experience with the DN, so I'm going to have to impress him, and that's why this showcase is so important, because it's based off first impressions with the scouts. Like, the scouts are going to talk to the team and be like, yeah, this guy, he really has a motor, he can play.
CGS uses drones to capture footage of drills and then makes that video available to teams for review. Like the hungry players who appear in those clips, the College Gridiron Showcase assumes the role of underdog.
That's what an NAIA kid is unassuming, underestimated, don't feel they have a shot, so they got a huge chip on their shoulder. And I don't know if we have a huge chip on our shoulder, but I tell you what, we're feisty.
Jefferson and Red started their event 6 years ago. They look to constantly innovate to maintain their place among the more established all-star affairs, like the Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine Bowl. While they welcome spectators, they build the event for the participants.
There's so much individual time where you really get to see kids do things athletically that sometimes you don't get to see even toward the end of the year when you go to school, because most of them just do mostly team stuff just and walkthroughs. So this really gives us an opportunity to look at their base value.
The accessibility we have to these guys, look, we can watch game tape from anywhere at any time now in the world that we live in. Part of our job is getting to know who the person is too.
Our guys are the 75 through 90 on a training camp roster, but guess what? When we give them access to get all this information, they can literally stand up on a table and say, I think this guy deserved this shot, because they have the research for it. They've interviewed this kid more than 5 minutes.
On the field, some players make an immediate impression. Benning Patoe had some good reps early in the Wranglers' practices. Patoe had switched from linebacker to defensive line his last year at the University of Washington. He, too, could use some more good tape to show scouts.
You go into a competition like this where you've never met the guy, you've never seen him play, so you're like, sometimes, to be honest, you second guess your ability. You're like, dang, this guy might be really good. You're questioning yourself, like, can I beat him? And then you go all the way back to your training, like fundamentals, stick to what you learned your entire life for over a decade of football.
Other guys have their struggles. They've got 2 days to show there's more to them than one dropped pass or a missed block. Monday evening, the players dine at a legendary Cowtown Tex-Mex establishment. After doing lineman-sized damage to the family-style menu, they gather in a room at the Fort Worth Convention Center. There, they await the call to engage in private conversations with attending teams.
Scouts are here to figure out who you are in interviews, so I think you have to show them what you know about the game and how you can express yourself, so they can kind of get to know you.
Even though it's just a little 15, 20-minute interview, sometimes you get some insight into a guy that, nuggets you didn't get when you were out of school, or people at the school don't know him as much, or for whatever reason you make a connection with a kid and he opens up and tells you a little bit about some of the things he's overcome or not had to overcome.
The number one thing is he's not honest. It's not like that we haven't talked to coaches or people in their organization and they have found out a lot about some people. So, we will confront young men on certain items. That's the number one thing, because we believe in character real highly.
Andrew Repair comes with a lifetime warranty.
Lifetime warranty, huh? That's a long...
Service King Collision Repair.
If becoming a professional athlete or executive is your dream, your financial goals should be long-term. Growing up in football and working in the NFL front offices, I saw a lot of people who never realized the importance of having a financial plan. As managing principal at 44 Management, we help people turn their success into significance. Learn about our track record of trust, respect, accountability, credibility, and knowledge at our website, 44mgmt.com.
Time. Woo!
Service King Collision Repair.
For Tuesday's practice, the Desperados offense matches up against the Wranglers defense and vice versa. The scouts get to see players take on new opponents in drills. They've now truly gotten to see how the small school guys perform against all levels of competition. Zach Larson holds his own at Garden Center with strength and leverage. CGS measured the Southern Utah product at a shade over 6 feet tall and 310 pounds. Though that sounds massive to most of us, he's at the lowest end of the size scale for NFL interior offensive linemen. He'll have to get some scout to notice his skills and really fall in love with him.
I feel like I've kind of been overlooked because I'm a little shorter than what the average center would be, so I take it as a challenge. I just go out there and, yeah, I'm from a smaller school, but I feel like I can compete with anybody, so I feel like I got to prove that, and I definitely have a chip on my shoulder.
Jalen Fly Sadler has the body mass scouts crave, but having played at Division II Lindenwood, he may have some things to learn to compete at the highest level. It's not always easy.
When that guy does it the correct way, he looks amazing, amazing, amazing. And that's one of the defects from going to a smaller school. You don't know what you don't know. And when he picked up on some of the things I tried to teach him, he looked like an NFL pro. So now, just getting him to make it a norm. And he has the size and the length, what NFL look for. Now, you already got a plus. You got what they want. You have the size. Two things the coach always told me that I can't teach: size and speed. You have size. Now, let me teach you how to use your tools.
The coaches at CGS must organize and motivate their charges. Beyond that, they try to add a small amount of instruction in the limited time they have.
These kids have played college for some pretty darn good coaches and have stayed in the system for 4 years. There is no way we're going to reprogram them in 3 days.
Their talents brought them here, so there's no reason to overcoach them. All we're doing is just making sure they've, step by step, they've gotten a little bit better through, little intricacies in their technique or, their effort or whatever.
Where am I going to get more power? Here or like this? You want to be square, so here. I'm coming inside, boom, right there.
They understand that they only got 3 days with us and they'll never coach us again. So they're very good at, coaching us on the little things, kind of the immediate things that can help us.
CGS measured Scott France at 6'5", 309. He faced quality Big 12 competition at Kansas State, and many services rate him as a draftable player. CGS gave him the chance to show scouts a versatility they might not have seen from him yet.
I played left tackle. Ever since 5th grade, I've been a left tackle. I've never played anything else. And that was kind of one of my biggest not my biggest concerns, but their biggest concerns going into this is, man, can he play any other positions? You know, because is he tall enough to play tackle? Is he long enough to play tackle? So I started off at left guard right away, playing a lot of guard, and I played some tackle too. So I want to show the teams that if they draft me or they pick me up, that I'm not just a one-trick pony. Like, I can do everything.
While France might have a little work to do to show the teams how he'll contribute to a roster on the field, he has no concerns about meshing with his teammates off it.
Most people know by now that I came out a few years ago, and it was great. I mean, my teammates accepted me. They didn't look at me, and, you know, as a gay man, they looked at me as a great teammate, you know, a great friend, a hard worker, and just a great football player.
Ultimately, all the men at the showcase have something in common. They love their sport, and especially the bonds they form with teammates, even ones they've only known a few days. That aspect of the game will stick with them, no matter where they go in their lives after CGS.
In a football locker room, you got dudes from every walk of life, every race, every religion, family background. I mean, there's, you know, I'm not the only one with a story. There's a lot of guys who have amazing stories and have been through a lot tougher times than I have. And I think we bond in that way. And, you know, football locker room is a special place, and I mean, I fit right in.
Make your suit a reflection of you. With licenses for all your favorite teams and Greek programs, you can customize your suit to show off exactly who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. Reveal your passion. Choose Reveal Suits.
Our greatest priorities are inspiring you while keeping you safe. So, enjoy space up there and space down here. See the SpaceX Falcon 9 without any long line. Explore moon rocks, spacesuits, even JFK. Enjoy social distance each step of the way. With touchless entry, space can touch you without you touching a thing. And our crew members wear masks, just not those. Purchase tickets in advance at spacecenter.org.
The CGS chapter of these players' stories is set to conclude on a Wednesday morning. The College Gridiron Showcase doesn't do it, like other postseason college football all-star events.
We don't play a game nobody really cares about. We're not doing the, you know, bringing the staffs in with having these kids sit in these meeting rooms for 2 hours to learn an offense they're going to forget by the time they hit the plane.
From an offensive standpoint, we draw up cards based on the offense that we like, that NFL offenses do, certain plays, certain zone plays, certain concepts for passing. We try to put everything toward the NFL game as much as possible for them.
The way this thing is, the scrimmage is set up, you don't have to worry about TV timeouts, you don't have to worry about TV commercials. So we just go through and we get as many repetitions with these kids as we can see, which really benefits us as scouts, and them too, to show their wares.
The way that we do it is it's not scripted. So now you just got to go out and play. It allows the athlete to go out, hey, here's my athletic ability, here's what I'm able to do.
Offense competes against defense.
I don't know what the problem is. It look like this morning to me, huh?
But each side seems pretty confident it's winning.
Oh, yeah!
Scouts get to see who will make plays. Craig Evans makes plays. He has to.
There's one at my school right now who's dealing with some off-the-field issues, has all the physical talents in the world, but it's the off-the-field issues that are causing him to get wiped off boards.
Did Evans do enough this week to get himself back on draft boards?
I feel like coming in, it was never an issue if I could play. You know what I mean? It was always my off-the-field stuff. So I talked to a lot of scouts. I talked to about 8 scouts before we even practiced, and since we practiced, I done talked to I don't even know how many. So it definitely rings a bell that's saying like I'm turning heads. I had some pretty good days, you know, in the inside run I really get to showcase myself, so I feel like they really like me as a run stopper right now.
Dior Johnson made a nice play against the run himself, but scouts may have shied away from his past.
Over this past week, I didn't get a chance to actually have a one-on-one meeting with a scout, but I know definitely I left some stuff out here on the field and stuff on film where they can definitely see and be like, okay, this kid, Dior Johnson, can play ball.
Shahan Williams hoped the scrimmage showed he can play some ball too.
It's different from getting, winning a one-on-one rep. When I got the sack out here, it was more of a rush. I felt good. At the end of the day, if whatever happens to where an NFL, CFL, XFL, or none, or I'm in the real world with a job, it's just if I knew I gave my all every day towards this process and then just leave it up to God, I know I can live with the results.
By the end, a certain coach seems to think the results of the scrimmage indicate his group has dominated.
Y'all only scored like 3 times. Yes. Played really well. They learn the defense really quick, and so they just go out and play, run fast. And that's what the NFL want to see. They want to see guys run, make plays. So that's what I try to teach them. The energy I give is to keep them motivated to play hard.
It's a lot of scouts here. I came out here and played my heart out, gave everything I had, and I just left it all out here.
The offensive side of the ball felt it had its moments as well.
I feel like I did really good. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm a shorter guy, so I need to really stand out, and I feel like I've really put my name out there and shown that I'm a physical guy and I can compete with anybody out there.
Today was our last scrimmage, and to be honest, it felt pretty good. I feel like I did way better than I did yesterday. Each day when you come out to practice, or even if you come out to a game, you got to focus on one thing. One thing is to get better. I'm so thankful for this opportunity because me coming from a small school and able to come up here and play against bigger school guys, I do believe it shows that I can play at the professional level.
Every CGS player hopes he'll play at the next level. They all also know that if they don't, they may never play the game again.
That could be my last time ever playing football, and I loved every rep that I got, and just the overall experience I've had here has been amazing.
Where we kind of give them a little glimmer of hope is about 32 or 33% of the NFL is undrafted free agents. And there's 1,800 guys there, and that's 600 guys. You got a shot.
The NFL's 32 teams all bring in undrafted rookies for a chance to earn one of the 55 roster spots each will have available during the regular season. The CFL and other leagues provide still more opportunities. The College Gridiron Showcase supplies no guarantees to its players, but it has offered what every young man coming out of college desires: the chance to interview for his dream job.
Did you guys have fun? Yes, sir.
The players will know in late spring how the scouts truly rated them when the NFL and CFL conduct their annual player drafts. They'll know if their pursuit of making the dream real can continue, or if they'll need to move on to the next thing.
It's a race to the top to even be a priority free agent. So it's like, you really just got to take it within yourself and make a decision. Like, man, is this what I'm finna do? Or am I finna go live my life? Because if this not what I'm finna do, you need to go start living your life. Because if not, you wasting it. I done sacrificed too much now. I done went through too much. I done went through too many lonely days to just say, it's over with. I feel like I failed in life. I don't even know how I would be able to operate in life if I just gave up now.
Things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road that you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh,